Well, good day, Saints. Happy Feast of Tabernacles, Day 4. This is Raah, and I'm coming to you again from Quadash Farm in the highest way with another mini lesson, giving our praise and glory to the Most High our El Shaddai, our Raah, our Yasha, our Shalom. And today, sisters and brothers, our topic is going to be gluttony. Gluttony is our topic for this morning. We're about halfway through the 8-day period, the 7-day feast days, this wonderful fall festival. We're about halfway through it. And this is about the time, people backs start to hurt. They start to get tired. They start to get bored. You done played all the games. You done all you could do. And now it's time to hunker down. So I want to come to y'all today and just talk to you about a subject dear to my heart, right? I was talking to my brother the other day, and my actual blood brother, and we was just talking about how we were raised and coming up with, a bunch of kids in the house, mom and dad. I don't know about you, but coming up in the 70s and 80s, we were taught to waste not, want not. We were taught to eat what is put before you. You're not going to throw it away. You're not going to get up from the table before you finish. Do not waste the food that mom and dad put before you on the table. And I was talking to my brother and I was thinking, I was like, I think our parents put the spirit of gluttony on us. I think I have a spirit of gluttony on me, brother. And he was like, why you think that? Why are you saying that? And I'm just like, ever since I can remember, I've never wasted a plate of food. You ever been around somebody that just devours a plate of food and leaves not a drop? I mean, the plate is clean. And then you'll have another sister or brother eating a plate of food, and it seems like they're just nibbling off of it, right? They're content, and it looks like they've not eaten anything on the plate. But you yourself or me would devour the whole plate, clean it. I mean, you wouldn't even need to rinse it off before you put it in the dishwasher, right? I was that kind of kid, right? And then on the other hand, my older sister, I have two older ones, but my younger sister, like if she didn't like something on her plate, she was one of the picky ones. She wouldn't eat it. She'd be the last one at the table. I can remember sometimes she just get just horrible whoopings, like just wasting food. I don't like it, being stubborn, right? Well, I was the opposite. And I was just like, brother, I think that waste not, want not was instilled in me so deeply. It affects me today, right? It affected me like when I got with my wife, when we were just dating. She didn't eat that much. And, whatever she would order, I'd eat my food. And I'm talking about back when I was like 220, 230, ripped, 6-pack. You know what I mean? I had a high metabolism. I could just eat anything in the world and wouldn't gain a pound. I could just remember being in the best shape of my life. And we'd go out on dates and I would devour my food, and I'd be devouring my food, looking at her plate like, oh, I'm definitely going to get some of that. I know she's not going to finish that meal. And I can remember just, her not finishing a burger, not finishing her meal, and me just cleaning it up, right? Or taking it home and eating it later. Well, obviously, hundreds of pounds later, right? Putting on tens and tens of pounds just with that mindset. I remember having our last child, and it'd be the same thing. She's very picky. She's not eating certain things. She get a plate made. And then it's finally now it come to the realization now, Saints, it's like I finally figured out the last piece, or I've come to acknowledge the last piece of how the devil's been destroying me. And it's been through gluttony, right? And I'm going to show you a bunch of ways that gluttony can destroy you and has destroyed our family members and friends. Many of us don't want to come to that realization, right? We'll look at somebody else and say, oh, they're a sodomite. Oh, they're caught up in the sin of homosexuality. Oh, they're a sinner for this or they're a sinner for that. And not looking at really everything that you're struggling with, right? That you have to ask repentance for, that you have to change, right? I've always knew I had an issue with patience. But coming to realization of now getting older, approaching 50, you start to think about, okay, what other sins am I missing that the devil's trying to destroy me with, right? So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about gluttony. Right? As you can see on this first slide, let's read something here about gluttony, right? It says the definition: a situation of gluttony in which people eat or drink more than they need to. Most people, when they think of gluttony or they hear gluttony, they're just thinking about food, but they're not thinking about the wine, the feast days, the strong drink, the coming home from work, decompressing drink, the going out clubbing, drinking, right? And when you drink to excess, then you have to eat to get your balance, which if that's after 10 p.m. or 12 midnight, now you're talking about your food not digesting, carrying that over, bad sleep, all the things that come with that, right? Just trying to get your balance from drinking too much. It goes on to say gluttony in Roman Catholic theology is one of the 7 sins. Gluttony is defined as excess in eating and drinking, right? Although eating and drinking for pleasure is not seen as sinful, listen, in moderation, on festivals, hanging out, going out, sitting around for leisure is not a sin. Eating dinner, eating during festivals is not a sin, but anytime you get to the excess point, right? You're starting to get to feast or potlucks and you think I got to get 2-3 servings, then I got to get to go plates. Now you're reaching into the point of sin, right? You're having a drink, then you have 2, then the next thing you know, you can't walk, you can't talk, you're stumbling around. It goes on to say, although eating and drinking for pleasure is not a sinful, eating and drinking to excess beyond reason is a sin. Drunkenness, which is caused by excessive consumptions of intoxicating beverages, is considered a type of gluttony. I'm going to also say drinking soft drinks, drinking things with high fructose corn syrup, drinking your sodas and drinking those horrible fruit juices in excess also can cause damage. That's what we're finding out now in 2025, right? But as kids and it's coming up, man, our parents would give us high C's. They would give us those fruit punches, those drinks, nonstop, right? Ice pop, fruit drinks, nonstop, not knowing what it's doing to our teeth, not knowing is making us hyper, not knowing the damage it's doing to our stomach, right? You have to add other things besides intoxicating beverages nowadays, right? It is considered a type of gluttony as a deadly sin because now drinking high fructose corn syrup and drinking sodas in excess is killing people, right? The way we grew up and what we were drinking ain't the same formula. They've changed the formula, and now things you drink and eat can kill you. If you're drinking and eating these things in excess, it will cause you to die, right? Gluttony is believed to spur other sins and further immoral behavior, right? Sitting around the table, Sunday dinners, all the holidays, now all the high days, Saints, you got to be more cognizant of what it is and how much of it is you're taking in. I think I said in another lesson, you don't only have to read the labels on your water, because all water ain't the same. All bottled water ain't the same. All drinks aren't the same. You got to read the labels, right? Now, when you're bringing in bread and you're bringing in bread products, starch products, your rice, all rice ain't the same, right? All flour is not the same. Anytime you see enriched on it, it's going to cause obesity, right? Anytime you see niacin, we already know gelatin, certain gelatin, right? What type of gelatin? Right? You got to start looking at all of your food. And now they're making fake meat. They're making fake meat that looks like steak, fake meat that looks like chicken. We were already thinking we were being smart eating Beyond Meat. And now we find that Beyond Meat ain't very beyond, right? You might mess around, be eating some human meat. Now they're saying certain restaurants are putting human meat in their food, right? Like, what is going on, saints? So now, if you're eating these things, not only are you unclean, but now eating things in excess, now you are committing sin against the Most High. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 23. I'm not calling this spirit out on anybody. I use my anecdotal, my experience, and I'm saying these are realizations that I came with, right? Many years, people always talking about getting on diets and weight loss this and trying to lose weight, and I got to get myself in order. But as we are backsliding on our own commitments, it is still doing damage to our bodies, right? Proverbs chapter 23, verse 19 to 21, it says, "Hear thou, my son, and be wise, and guide thy heart in the way. Be not among winebibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drowsiness shall cloth a man with rags." Sisters and brothers, it has long been in the scriptures and the Proverbs of what damage it could do to you if you eat too much, if you drink too much, right? Even the son that was being disobedient and dishonorable to his parents was called a glutton, right? So, like, if you're going to be dishonorable to your mother and father, if you're going to be a liar and a thief, it more likely, it probably got gluttony with it, right? You're probably eating too much, drinking too much, all like the bad behaviors. I guess in the Catholic Church, the 7 sins, they kind of all go together. If you got one issue, you got multiple issues, right? So over time, you'll see that gluttony could come in many different ways and many different forms, other than just drinking and eating, because many things in excess will hurt you and will kill you, right? But just think about it. You're hanging around the wrong type of people with the wrong type of behaviors, thinking that influence won't impact you, right? How does that work? You're hanging around drunks, you're hanging around drug addicts, you're hanging around people that smoke, and you're saying, well, I'll never smoke, or I'll never drink it, or I'll never do drugs, or I'll never eat. It was a day where I was like, man, I'll never be overweight. I mean, my body, I'm a chisel machine. I've worked so hard to get my body the way that it is. I'll never lose it. I'll never stop working out. The older dudes used to tell us, hey, as you get older, it get hard to keep that weight off. You're not going to be able to keep eating like that. You're not going to be able to keep eating fast food, right? You're not going to be able to, your body's not going to withstand the activity that it did when you was in your 20s. When you get in your 40s and up in your 50s and 60s, your body's not going to be able to rebound, right? And so a lot of saints are starting to figure out that they're fighting gluttony, right? They've been fighting gluttony for many years, right? In the NIV, it says, "Do not join those who drink too much wine or gorge themselves on meat. For the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and drowsiness will cloth them in rags. You ever know when you eat, you remember back when you keep it Thanksgiving, and you used to eat all that MSG, and everybody used to cut the game on and then pass out. Uncle and the cousins, everybody, all the men be passed out. Women be up there just talking, cha, 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 and all the men be snoring, passed out, right? Just overwhelmed, drowsy from whatever is in the meat. I mean, the way that our teeth set up, I don't even know if we're set to be carnivores the way that we eat meat, because certain meats that we eat in excess, why do we all pass out? Why do we all have to go to sleep after we eat it, right? And then you top of that with the eating and drinking on Thanksgiving, New Year's party, 4th of July party, Christmas party. Every time there's a holiday, anytime there's a now Juneteenth, or anytime there's a Labor Day, any holiday, you notice the liquor stores are full and their grocery stores are full, and everybody's buying meat and drink. Well, obviously, just like buying cartons of cigarettes every week, or Black and Miles, or your sack of weed, I mean, you're going to go broke. If you could go back and look year over year how much money you spent on drinks and smoke, and then now you topple it. I don't drink and smoke no more, but you go now look at the grocery store and still go to the liquor store, man, it will lead you to poverty, just like the scripture has said. So eating and drinking go together. Eating and drinking in excess leads to obesity, and it can also lead to other organ and health issues, right? This is something we got to talk about, man. Like, everybody feasting and everybody's like, man, we're making all this food. We're having a good time on the feast. But does the feast give us the green light to commit sin, gluttony? Does it? I'm asking. If we're already overweight, if we're already unhealthy, listen to how I'm talking about. I'm including myself. If you're already unhealthy, if you're already, the doctor saying you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, and then every time there's a feast coming around, we're overindulging in the lamb and the brisket and the chicken and the sides and with the cakes and the drinks, and we're just overrun because it's lawful. The Most High said we got to feast to our pleasure. Now, does that give us a green light for gluttony? That's a question. All those who hear this lesson, right? I know I'm up early in the morning. People are just rolling over. It's day 4. Everybody's crinking and moving and not moving as fast as they did in day 1. I know I'm coming with possibly a heavy topic if it's something that you fight with, right? But I'm asking the question, does the commandment to keep the feast give us the green light to sin, committing gluttony? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 23, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 23. Read verse 4. I'm going to read verse 4 and verse 6. It says, "Our O Most High, Abba and El of my life, give me not a proud look, but turn away from thy servants always a haughty mind." Always turn away from those that have a haughty mind, that don't believe fat meat is greasy, right? Verse 6, "Let not the greediness of the belly nor lust of the flesh take hold of me, and give not over me thy servant into an impotent mind." So he's saying, when you consume in gluttony, right, or the love of flesh, he's saying you have an impotent mind, a haughty mind. You're proud. You're not humble, right? You're not listening to people give you advice, right? And just like our family members that smoke, and just like the family members that do drugs and drink, a lot of them wait till it's too late, right? I think I did a lesson a couple weeks back, right? Like our family members, we're on our family members about not doing things that have cancerous labels on it, right? Not drinking, not smoking certain So definitely not smoking cigarettes, right? But we want our family members to be both healthy as we look in the mirror and we're not living a healthy life as it pertains to eating and or drinking or partying or our decompressing, right? It ain't that you're drinking, partying, but you may be in the solitude of your home or hanging out with your friends, social drinking or decompressing at home. But anything in excess, it's like when it becomes too much, do you have the family members and friends that tell you better fall back? Or when you start to get sick, is that when you finally listen to the doctor and decide to fall back, right? What does it take for us to fall back and eat to live and not live to eat? You know how people tell you that? You know how you've heard that, right? You want to eat to live, not live to eat your next meal, right, saints? Have you ever heard that? Has anybody ever said that to you, right? And I know many of us have heard it before, right? So let's look at this next passage, right? It's going to be in Ecclesiastes chapter 23. I think we were already in 23. We're going to drop down to verse 16. Ecclesiastes chapter 23, verse 16. It says, two sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A person with a hot mind is as a burning fire. It will never be quenched till it be consumed. The second person is a fornicator in their body of his flesh, will never cease till he hath kindled a fire. You know what fire looks like? You know what a fire looks like to somebody that's always hot-headed, till they get into a fight and they get beat up, put in the hospital, or till they're always in an argument and they end up getting themselves killed, right? The second thing is a fornicator that sleeps around until they get an STD or till they get something incurable, right? That's burning fire up on yourself. You're doing things to the point that it brings a sickness or death upon you, right? All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. He will not leave off till he die. Sisters and brothers, there's gluttony, and then there's gluttony, drinking to the point of disease, drinking to the point of death, drinking to the point of an accident. Then, sisters and brothers, there's eating. We already know the certain foods that they're putting things in it that kill us, that bring us to obesity, which kills us, right? Then you are just a whoremonger, right? There's whoremongers that desire sexual relations to the point of death. But then now he's talking about you could be a whoremonger wanting to eat meat and bread to the point that it kills you. See, we hear stuff like that, but we're not making it transparent and relatable to our lives. How could gluttony? See, we act like gluttony is such a lower sin that we don't have to worry about, right? But I'm telling you right now, today, you see all these people on TikTok and social media making all of these videos about what to eat, what not to eat, and how food and certain foods consumed hurt you, right? But we're not looking at the symptoms that we're going through that are being caused by this sin of gluttony. We're reading scriptures saying these things multiply sin, right? You don't want to add sin onto sin, but living, being high-minded or being haughty or being hot-headed or being someone that no one can tell what to do will leave you to commit other sins. And because when you're committing those other sins, you don't want nobody to tell you about it. That's what it means, multiplying sins, adding sin on the sin. Your one sin, your lying leads to another sin, or your hot-headedness or your stubbornness, right? Or your anger leads to other sins. Well, in this case, gluttony is leaving us to other sins like diseases and ultimately death, committing heinous accidents, taking other people's lives, taking our lives by not controlling what we consume into our bodies as the scriptures tell us to, right? Let's go to this next passage. So we're at Ecclesiastes 23, 16 and 17. All right. It says gluttony leads to physical problems. Now let's look at our community. Let's look at our church. Let's look at our congregation. Let's look at our family history, and let's see if any of this might bring it home, right? Raah, I've been talking a lot. Raah, I've been confessing, asking for forgiveness. Raah, I've been repenting. Raah, I've been talking about all this stuff we don't want to talk about. And heck, you might be in shape and you don't have no problem. You don't have a problem now, but problems seem to sneak up on you. We're like weight gain and bad health. The older you get, things seem to creep up on you if you're not mindful, right? Now watch this. Gluttony leads to physical problems such as obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and various, various digestive issues like acid reflux, bloating, and heartburn. Now, how many of you know someone that knows someone that knows someone that is going through any of this? How many of y'all know somebody that's diabetic? And they like, oh yeah, people are diabetic now. You know, we take our insulin shots, but like they talk about diabetes and sugar like it's no big deal. But it's taking a lot of people out right now, saints. Diabetes been taking people out, right? And then they talk about heart disease, you know, like it's destroying communities, but it's destroying our community the most, right? So when we see uncle or big mama or any of them walk around, oh, my stomach, oh, you know, they're all bloated, right? Or they got heartburn, heart reflux. Like we gotta look at the picture of what happened right before that, right? Well, we was all at the table. We all just celebrated Memorial Day. You know, we was with the family. We all just celebrated a big feast. But listen, saints, all of us shouldn't be feasting. All of us shouldn't, none of us should be feasting the way in our minds the world has told us a feast should be. Like even in the Bible, it gives you certain amount of lambs, certain amount of goats, this, that, and the third, mixing with this herb, that herb, this herb, that herb, how much. And even if you go back to Exodus chapter 12, when they came out of the Passover, even though they killed a whole lamb, you got to split that whole lamb up with your family and other families, right? You're only supposed to eat as much as the size of your family, right? Exodus chapter 6, when it goes into the Sabbath, right? You gather the portion for your size family. And then on the preparation day, you gather double for the next day because you couldn't gather on the Shabbat day. Like you're thinking about that, and you still have to apply those same principles on the feast days. Yes, there's a whole smorgasbord, right? Like, what is the point of making a whole pan of dressing, a whole pan of spaghetti, and it's just 3 people? Like if you're making full pans of food, you got this. Now I'm thinking, man, that's got to be of 20, 30 people. Like most people are just taking one scoop. So now you don't have a lot of people, but you got 6 pans of full food for 3 to 4 people, 2 families. They're gonna look at all this food and be like, who's gonna eat all this food? I think we might have been doing the feast the wrong way, right? I think we might have been not really admitting. We're admitting to all the sins, we repented, and we've kind of turned away from our biggest sins, but not the ones we consider lesser. And the ones that are lesser, saints, is killing us. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease. Now, as you get older, you try to fix it, but man, we got to make sure our young kids, our young ones don't fall into this same trap, right? This is that overlooked sin that's like in everybody's family. It's in everybody's face. They tell you, yes, Sister Christy, we got to change our ways, our mindset. But like, we got to quit overlooking this one sin, which is trying to take us all out, right? And now that they know that we were trying to be more health conscious, we're not eating that old slave food no more. We're not eating the chitlins. We're not eating the hog mogs. We're not eating all of this fat porky products. Now they like, well, we got to get these pork products into their medicine pills. We got to get it into their capsules. We got to put it in a water. Like they putting every kind of. They knew that pig would destroy us. Now they're trying to put it in everything that we consume. Right now, you got to start looking at what items have pork byproducts. They want to make you unlawfully clean, right? But then they know that consuming pig products can lead to disease and kill you faster, right? Let's look at what it say on the slide here. It goes on to say, chronic overeating or gluttony can cause serious damage to the liver. See, when people think of gluttony, they just think of the clumps and people just overweight and getting big, but they're not understanding. Everybody's laughing at the clumps, but everybody's not understanding that we're looking at these characters and he's portraying these characters to be funny, but these characters are obese and they are sick and they're not living a healthy life, right? And most people be like, I'm overweight, but I'm healthy, right? I'm doing good, but really inside, internally, right? The damage to your liver and kidneys by leading to obesity, the inflammation that's on your body, the metabolic disease like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, while occasionally overeating does not cause permanent harm, consistently eating in excess, drinking in excess, living your best life in excess, baby, give me a second plate, give me a third plate, put severe and chronic strain on these vital organs. Always this way. Plate, son, you do not waste not, want not. They made it like it was a godly proverb, like it was a law from scripture. Don't waste no food. If we put it before you, God has blessed us and we worked hard, eat it. Now, look at my generation. Look at the X generation, right? The X generation is probably the most obese generation out of all the generations. Probably more obese than the baby boomers. I ain't checked the stats on it, but we're probably definitely more obese than the millennials and the Z's and the A's coming up, right? Yes, Sister Christy, they put it's in our food. We gotta be mindful because if we're obese, listen, look at how the devil works. If you overeat, it's gonna lead you to the pharmaceutical and the doctor's office where they can prescribe you and make you even worse sick, right? All right, I don't overeat. So now they're going to put the bad chemicals in your food. So now you got, if you don't watch what you eat, it's going to kill you, lead you to the doctor's office, put you on medicine, right? If you eat it in excess, then you just want to die, right? You just don't believe fat meat is greasy. We're reading the scriptures where it tells you that 3 things add sin onto sin, and one of them is eating bread and eating meat in excess. It's going to lead to our death. How does it lead to our death? Through sickness. Now, if we don't overeat and our heart just give out, or our liver or our kidney, well, they're going to help speed it along by putting you on medications that's definitely going to affect your liver and your kidney and lead you to death. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Like when we look at our kids and they're looking chubby and they looking thick, and I know the women will be like, oh, don't tell our young daughters that, you know, they're overweight, or they're gonna get a complex, or they're gonna feel some kind. Everybody should feel some kind of way. If you're looking at a child, boy, girl, teenager, boy, girl, young adult, boy, male, female, if you're looking at people and they don't look healthy and they don't look like they can run a mile in 6 minutes, or they can't help work out in a full day for 8 hours and still be fit, right? Like if they can't move and they can't breathe and they have trouble, like you got to look and say, man, my kid is breathing heavy. That's not good. We're going to the doctor and the cholesterol is up, elevation's up in a small child. Now, whose fault is it if a child is struggling with obesity? They don't know nothing about sin. They don't know nothing about gluttony. They don't know about looking at labels and ingredients. Mom is bringing all this food in. What type of food is mom bringing in? How often is mom making me eat this food? Kids ain't struggling with gluttony and drinking, so it's got to be straight from food. So it's the enriched flour, it's the niacin, it's the this, it's the high fructose corn syrup, it's the juices in the juice box, it's the cakes and the snacks in the pantry. Like, so now, parent, sounds like that sin is falling upon you. You're struggling with your sickness, you're struggling with your sin, and now you're passing it on to your family and your children. You're not saying, like I grew up, waste not, want not. But what you're doing is putting the food readily available to your children to eat nonstop. You see this horse behind me? This horse behind me takes no breaks. Sheep eat, lay down, let the food digest, start eating again. My cows eat, lay down, let the food digest, and get up again. Horses, non-stop eating all day, 24/7. Is this what we're making our kids? Over consumers? Overconsumption leads to sickness, leads to death. It goes on to say in this next slide, I'm going to try to wrap this up. Gluttony harms the kidneys, both directly and indirectly, primarily by contributing to conditions that increase the kidneys' workload. Listen, when you go to the doctor and tell them what's wrong, they're just going to treat what you say is wrong. They know they've went to school after college. That's 16. They went, another 8 years? So 16 and 8 is at 24? They went to school 24 years to know what is the cause of your acid reflux. What's the cause of your weight gain? What's the cause of your kidney issues? What's the cause of your gallstones? What's the cause of your gout, your heart, your blood pressure? They know the root cause. They're not treating what's causing it. They're treating the effect. They're treating what is being damaged. They're treating the effects of it. That's what you come in and say. I got a fever, I got a headache, I got this, and I got that. They're giving you something for that. They're not trying to fix what causes it, or they're not going to have a job. They're not going to have a job. You literally got kidney damage. You got kidney issues, liver issues. You got internal organ things going on that's outwardly causing your skin to break out. The rashes, the weight gain. Your weight gain could just be holding water. Why am I holding water? Why is my liver and kidney not working together with my other organs to push this liquid out? Why is it storing this fat? Why? That's why you got to ask the doctor. Okay, you giving me medicine to treat what's going on now, but what is causing what's going on now? See, you could go online, use a smart apparatus to find out what's causing your symptoms and go in and talk about, okay, now what fixes the cause of these symptoms? Now the doctor's got to have a whole nother conversation. Wait a minute, you know too much now. Otherwise, they're just going to be treating your effects, and they're going to have you on long-term medications that's not necessary. I believe this is the last slide. Let me see if I can make this bigger so we can all read it. I'm going to drop me down. Let's look at this, right? So this is what the sin of gluttony leads to, right? Now, let's see if you know any better like this, because this is what over-consuming leads to. Everybody thinking, oh, I drink, it's my liver. But nobody thinks, oh, my liver is affected by what I eat. But yeah, certain foods have purines And purines, if they're not flushed out of your body, they cause damage to your organs, right? So look at this. Obesity-related chronic disease, CKD, a consistently high calorie intake, what does that say? Leads to obesity, right? Which is a major risk factor for CKD. Obesity causes the kidney to have to work harder, a process known as hyperfiltration. Over time, this overwork damages the kidneys, filtering units, nephrons, and leads to scarring and loss of function. So if you go to the doctor and they start talking about your kidneys, you got kidney disease, loss of function, what is causing it? Most people aren't attributing it to food. What I'm eating, how much of it I'm eating, what's my blood type, what should I not be eating? See, you go to the general doctor, man, I'm telling you, they just treat the effects. When you start trying to get into what should I eat for my blood type and how can I get these things under control, then they try to refer you to what? A dietitian, right? Somebody that can plan your food for you. When I'm like, why didn't you do that before? Why are you trying to put me on medicine for the rest of my life? Why are you trying to put it in my record to diagnose me with something that could easily be corrected if I change my diet and what I intake? Aha. They don't want you to figure out how to stop being sick. They just want you to keep coming in so they can keep you on the medicines, right? Watch this. Hypertension, high blood pressure, right? Why you think that, man, I went to the dentist and my blood pressure was up. They didn't even want to treat me because my blood pressure was up. What is my blood pressure up, man? This was like 3-4 years ago. What is my blood pressure got to do with you cleaning my teeth? Oh, we can't clean your teeth. You might bleed excessively or something. Like, I was just like, I don't understand what you're talking about, right? It could have just been your blood pressure can go up from waking up drinking, or waking up drinking apple juice, or you wake up and drink your coffee, or you wake up and eat a certain meal, your blood pressure is going to go up, right? And so look at this high blood pressure. It says obesity, a common result of overeating, is a primary cause of high blood pressure. Hypertension damages the small and sensitive blood vessels in the kidneys, which impairs their ability to filter blood and is a leading cause of kidney disease. Listen, we're talking about food. We're talking about food. So every time we go to the feast and you put out 20, 30 pans of food, and all the eyes are big, and you see your kids' eyes, and no parent is saying that the kid just ate a full plate. You just made them a plate, and then they keep running up getting plates. And I mean, we setting our kids up for a life of pain and bills we can't pay, and co-pays we can't pay, and doctor's visits we don't want to leave the job to go to, just because we're not controlling how much and what our kids consume, right? Look, diabetes, excess sugar. Sugar comes from food. Sugar comes from what they're putting in the drinks. I mean, excess sugar consumption from overeating. Listen, you don't even have to overeat now. You can eat 3 square meals a day, evenly proportioned, but they've made the formulations that are in the rice, that are in the box foods, the over salt in the canned foods, they've made the formula to where even if you're making evenly proportioned meals, the ingredients in it is enough to damage you, right? Overeating can contribute to insulin resistance. Come on, y'all. They're creating food to make us diabetic. And then when we overeat, it just makes it happen faster. High blood sugar damages blood vessels in the kidneys and is another leading cause of kidney disease. Listen, sisters and brothers, this is from our food. I didn't really harp on the liver, and because the liver has to break down everything that we drink, right? And so if you're drinking a lot of alcohol, of course, it's going to damage your liver because it's something that's you shouldn't be. It's something processed that you shouldn't be intaking. But if you intake a lot of it, it's going to damage your liver quicker. Listen, same point with the food, right? Same point. How could your great grandmother or your grandmother live to 100 years and she smoked every day of her life, but now here it is, our 30-year-old cousins is dying from sarcoidosis and smoking and liver, and like obviously something has changed. Obviously, whatever they say is in the cigarettes or whatever we're consuming now ain't what they was consuming 40 years ago. It just ain't. Look at this, kidney stones. Y'all know anybody fighting with kidney stones? Eating large meals, particularly those high in protein, like too much protein, can increase the risk of kidney stones. This happens when the excess waste products of that meat and minerals are more likely to crystallize as the kidneys attempt to excrete them. So certain meats that you eat in abundance, like think about it, we're eating our beef well done, and we still having issues processing it. Europeans eat rare meat, and you don't hear them as much as you hear us having kidney stones and issues processing red meat. But us old type people, our nation of people, we struggle processing flesh. And the flesh that's not processed, it creates, you see that? It creates these minerals and crystallizes, and it can affect our kidney, right? Look at this. Another one, acute kidney failure is rare, but extreme cases, binge eating. Look at that, kidney stones, diabetes, hypertension. What is that? Obesity-related chronic kidney, saints. Them big plates that we be taking pictures of, sending the every day, not thinking about the choice foods that we are making. All right, we go out and go get some fresh, clean fish, and then we stick it in the wrong types of grease oils. Then with the bread and the flour we use is enriched flour. Like we just took something good and wholesome from the Most High and just made it in a way that hurts us. I just wanted to put it on your mind, saints. That sin gluttony has been taking the children of the Most High out for a long time. Yeah, Big Mama and them was smoking, but they was eating fresh food, eggs, greens out the garden. You right, Christine. Yeah, everything they ate, they pretty much grew 90% of what they ate. And if they had any fast food or anything from a restaurant, we brought it to the house and we took them to the restaurant. Otherwise, Big Mama was growing her own tomatoes. She was getting her own greens. If she wasn't growing it, she had a homegirl growing it. You know, they were eating fresh food that they made from the earth. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We could do better. I figured it out. I made a conscious effort. Y'all see Brother Michael All? Brother Michael All down during their 90 pounds. 90 pounds. A conscious effort to change lifestyle. The lifestyle, what the doctors didn't tell you, you got to eat better so you quit damaging your internal organs, just going to put you on long-term medications or kill you. They don't say it like that, do they, saints? That's how you need to tell your kids. You need to quit going to get them extra plates. Your body can't process it. And the more damage you do to your internal organs, the longer you do it, the more problems you can have later on in life, right? You see Auntie over there, we went to visit in the hospital. You remember that funeral we went to where they struggled. They had liver disease. They had kidney failure. They had diabetes. They had sugar. We got to be honest with these kids. Don't you know that when you tired of your kids and you leave them to that social media and you put them on their devices, they are learning the real world from the mouth of sinners and people that don't love them and care for them. It would be our best bet to tell our children and our loved ones the proper way to do it. And as they get older If they, like the scripture said, if they start getting an impotent mind and getting haughty and you can't tell them nothing, then their life is going to be the result of what it is. But it's like me from the top. If I don't make my change, and y'all don't see the change in me and Michael, and we standing before the people, and the people that follow us, ain't no change in us, then how do we expect our family members and friends to now listen to us? They should see the outward change of our light that's coming from our mouth. And that's what I want to do a better job of, right? So I repent before you, and I ask your forgiveness, and I commit to being a better leader physically, so that I can be around to keep delivering the words of the Most High through my mouth to your ears, Con. So this might be the longest yet. Day 4, Tabernacles. I pray it says something to edify and help. I thank you for joining me here on this live. Most High say the same. We'll see each other tomorrow on day 5. May your rest of your feast continue to be joyful. Sit down and have some real conversations as the kids start to get lethargic and you start to hang around each other more and you get each other close from the Most High mouth, from his word to your mouth. Let your young ones start to hear the wisdom that you guys have acquired over the years, so they don't go through the issues, the pains, the medical trips, the issues that you have suffered. Let's make sure that we do better. Obviously, do better with our eating choices, do better with learning what moderation is, what the Most High say, because if we don't, it is leading and it has led to the diseases and to death. All right. Long-winded Raah. I'm out. Day 4. Man, y'all be blessed. Love y'all, man. Most High continue to bless you and keep you. Enjoy yourselves. Shalom.